Yeah. All right, 10:02 on the fan. What's happening? Tiki and Tierney here. Tiki, how you doing today, buddy?
Good,
what's happening, man? You good?
We've been talking a lot about the Jets, a lot about Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. And really, there's a lot of teams when you start thinking about it that have unsettled quarterback situations in the NFL. Miami, even because of Tua, even though he's there for the while. All of the NFC South because Tom Brady's retired, and the Falcons, even though they drafted a kid, they'll be fine, I think, but maybe not. The Saints need somebody. The Bucs need somebody. Carolina needs somebody. There's so many unsettled situations. And I think the last couple of days of talking about wanting Aaron Rodgers or wanting Derek Carr have made me not appreciate, but really pine to have Daniel Jones be committed here for the short-term long time. Right? I'm not saying give him a 10-year contract, but just the fact that in about 3 weeks when the league year starts, that 20 teams, maybe not even close to 20 teams, over half of the league are going to be scrambling for a quarterback. We need Daniel Jones to be a New York Giant. I know that there's speculation about how much it's going to cost and what the Giants should do and could they find, a better alternative. Forget that. To me, continuity with what they've started to build is so much more important than anything else, especially when all of this competition for quarterbacks is about to ensue. And I know it sounds crazy because a year ago nobody would have said this, but and what a difference a year makes, because I feel like the Giants need Daniel Jones for stability in not just the East, but really the league. There's so much instability at quarterback. It makes you appreciate when you have a guy like Daniel Jones who is growing into a winner. It's kind of crazy how a year has changed how we feel about him.
Well, I pretty much agree. The Giants do need to find a way to get Daniel Jones done long term. I think you and I both think that they will.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think complicates it is that I think a lot of other teams look at Daniel Jones as a possible answer.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of options.
There's not. And, listen, this is not hyperbole when Tiki says there's, 15, 18, 20 teams out there that really need to resolve their quarterback situation. I'm going to, rather than tell you the teams that need to resolve it, let me give you the teams that don't. All right, and this is based on two factors. Number one, first one, they either have a stud, young kid, the man, there's no doubt about that, or the contract makes it so punitive that they've got no choice. Here's the list. It's short. Bills, Bengals, Browns, Jaguars, Kansas City, Denver with the dopey Russell Wilson contract, the Chargers, Philly, Dallas, maybe the Vikings with Kirk Cousins. That's it. Yeah. Now, there's other situations that will resolve themselves potentially favorably, like Miami. If Tua can avoid head injuries, and that's a big thing, obviously, then that's a very different path. If Kyler Murray comes back healthy, that's better, obviously, for the Cardinals.
Little player with an ACL injury.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's asking a lot.
It is. It's just nuts. It's crazy. There's 32 teams in the NFL, and to me, there's 10 situations that are beyond reproach based on the two factors I gave you. Now, the numbers eventually are the numbers, and we could get, overly wrapped up in, is Daniel Jones worth 35, 37? It doesn't matter. Cap's going up. I mean, you have a quarterback. You want to keep him. You don't have one. You feverishly pursue one like the Jets have been doing my entire life. But I do think while he fits this team, he's a winner. We all respect Daniel. He showed great growth this year. I am a little worried that there's one rogue team out there that complicates the Giants' world to a point that might make it a little messy.
Yeah, the Giants are balancing a very delicate negotiation, one with Saquon and one with Daniel Jones. Those are the two primary assets that they need to hold on to. And Saquon's complicated because he wants Christian McCaffrey type money. We all know the cap's going up, so obviously you want you want some premium simply because we know where the cap is going to be in a couple of years, and that seeps into the negotiation. But are you really paying a running back that much money? And then you throw in the Daniel Jones conversation where you can't franchise him if you're saving the franchise for Saquon Barkley. And so if you let him become a free agent, what you're talking about, BT, is absolutely going to happen. Somebody's going to get a little bit heavy in their wallet and say, all right, we got plenty of cap room. Daniel Jones, you're the best option. You're clearly the best free agent option. We've gone through this many, many times. Tom Brady's not available. Likely the Giants aren't going to go, get Aaron Rodgers via trade. Derek Carr is there. Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. You know the names. It's like Daniel Jones is the best of the bunch.
But you can make the case that on some level he's almost more appealing than Rodgers based on the age.
You're right.
And the upside and the other stuff we talk about with Rodgers.
Maybe Derek Carr as well, because, the age thing. He's 26 years old, Daniel. He's not even 26 years old. So he's young. He's a really good athlete. He's big. He's strong.
Smart.
He's smart.
Yep.
You know that he, when put in the right system, you got some talent around him. Who knows where his ceiling can ultimately be. He's the most appealing asset at quarterback that's kind of available right now. Because even Aaron Rodgers, it's going to cost you a grip to get him, and all these, maybe not a ton of future assets, but it's going to cost you money, and it's certainly going to cost you assets. The Giants, as crazy as it sounds, they need to hang on to Daniel Jones. It's not, like the other options make no sense given where they are. Because if you go someplace else, let's say you bring in, Teddy Bridgewater, who knows, whatever. But you have Tyrod Taylor there, so you wouldn't do anything. But let's just say Tyrod Taylor is your starting quarterback next year, and you're going with some project, and Tyrod just is average, right? You don't make any advancements. All of a sudden, the Giants, you start realizing how average the Giants roster was, and they're not good again. So you need Daniel Jones to continue to advance and make this team get on a trajectory towards consistent playoffs, not intermittent playoffs. So we made it 1 year, we disappear for 3 years. We get back because we drafted a quarterback and he's on a rookie deal. I don't want to go through that. I want the stability that Daniel Jones as the Giants starting quarterback can provide.
877-337-6666, our number. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guarantee lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. By the way, Dandy's one of his teammates, Isaiah Hodgins, will join us today at 12:20. So that'll be fun. Got that 1-year deal, earned it. You got to respect that coming from nowhere. One of the coolest things about sport is the obscure path that not everybody's born. A Tiger Woods, a LeBron, a Jordan. Not saying that those guys didn't work their way to the top of the mountain. I'm not implying that at all. But, Hodgins, you want to talk about a non-linear path to, I don't want to say stardom, but certainly football relevance. That is certainly Mr. Hodgins' way. So he'll join us later. Tiger's playing today. We'll keep an eye on him. And a little baseball stuff as well. But let's get to you guys here. It's interesting. It's a dance that I think Teak and I both think that the Giants will navigate well. We're not worried about the Giants messing this up. Let's be clear about that. We have no fear about the Giants undervaluing Jones or being No, it's about some team right now lying in the weeds, plotting something out of desperation that overvalues Jones, that makes the Giants' decision even tougher.
And by the way,
that's what worries you.
It could be the team in Florham Park. Seriously.
I would love, listen, oh, God.
And we joked about this last year. If Daniel Jones was on the Jets, because we were comparing the rosters, the respective rosters. It is clear the Jets had a better roster last year, right? But in your mind, you're like, man, if we just mix these two rosters together and the best player at each position played, the Giant-Jet combo would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'll take the head coach while we're at it as well.
Right.
If we're going to trade stuff.
If Daniel Jones was on the Jets last year and he played like he did for the Giants, think how good he was going to be. So I could see the Jets, if they miss out on Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr decides to go to the New Orleans Saints, Jimmy Garoppolo ends up in Tampa or whatever, and the Jets are now very desperate, and Daniel Jones is a free agent, not franchise tag. What? They'd be stupid not to try to go get Daniel Jones.
You think Woody would do that, though? The owner. No, that's a different question.
Because if the Giants
that's a different question, though.
If the Giants don't do right by Daniel Jones, and by right I mean just give him what he kind of has earned.
Yeah.
Right. He's earned that, not upper echelon $50 million a year contract, but he has earned the 32, the 37, whatever that range is. He's earned that, I believe. And
I agree.
So if the Giants are going to fiddle around with it, why would it? The Jets have to.
I don't know if Woody would do that. I think there's this under or unspoken, whatever, that I would stun me if Woody Johnson did that.
I bet New Orleans would do it if they missed out on Derek Carr.
Well, it's not the same city.
Well,
That's the point.
I bet Carolina, I bet Tampa would.
I agree with that.
These teams that need to get a winner,
Yep,
and are desperate for it would go do it. I'd be surprised if the Jets didn't, if the Giants don't end up franchising him or work out a long-term deal before he actually becomes a free agent.
All right, let's get to you. First up, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Arnold is on the Fantique and Tierney. Arnold, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Well, right here, just listening to you guys, I'm thinking that with Daniel Jones, we're going to have to get lucky going in the future in order to get a Super Bowl, and I'm thinking Super Bowl.
Why lucky? Why do you think you got to be lucky with him? You don't think he's good enough?
I don't see him as a quarterback that's just going to take us to the next level. So as far as paying him, I would stay in the low 30s, maybe high 20s, so we could have some room to pay other players to be around him to bring us to that promised land.
Yeah, well, this is where Joe Shane has got to really draft well. I mean, he has to crush it in the draft to fill some of the holes, but also depth at some key positions. Linebacker being one, wide receiver obviously being the primary one. He's got to draft really well, otherwise it doesn't work. But I mean, I can't put a cap on Daniel Jones right now. I just can't. I've seen too much in different stages. So as a rookie, he had some elite games. Like we've kind of forgotten about it because all the turmoil with the Giants over the last couple of years. But as a rookie, he really let it fly. And the turnovers were the thing that made us feel dampened on that, but he had some big-time games. He was asked to throw the ball 35, 40 times in some of those games, and he lived up to it. This past season, because the offensive line was still a work in progress, because there really was no one to take the top off the defense, so to say, that big, 50-yard play or, 50-50 ball. They didn't have that guy. He wasn't asked to throw the ball that much, except for the time that he did, and he threw for 300 yards a couple of times. So I still don't think we know how good Daniel Jones can be. And so when you say he's not going to lead us to a Super Bowl, I would challenge that. I think he can if he has the right pieces around him in a defense, kind of like these two defenses that were in the Super Bowl this past season that can carry their weight when they need to.
See, that's the part of the conversation that I find really interesting. And there's no answer on that yet. I tend to agree with you. I do. But I think as we try to determine what his ultimate value is to the Giants, Jones, a lot of the projection and a lot of the appeal is rooted in this belief that he's still ascending. And I believe that he is.
Yeah.
And I know you do as well.
Yeah.
But if we're wrong there, if we're wrong with that, and
you got him on a 4-year deal or something,
and the rest of the roster, of course, is going to be upgraded. But if it's not a monumental upgrade and Jones this is Jones's apex, for lack of a better word, there can be, just to provide different thought here, a school of thought, to be redundant, that maybe the better play would be to not give him the 36, 37, 38, start over and just kind of go from there.
But let me ask you, what's the worst situation? The one we are just describing with Daniel Jones?
Yep.
Or this desperate spot that you as a Jet fan are sitting in? Because that's what I fear. That's how we started this conversation. That's what I'm fearing. Daniel Jones leaves here, and all of a sudden the Giants are like, all right, who's our quarterback? I know Tyrod Taylor's our bridge to whatever is next, but who's our quarterback? Right? I don't want to be in that situation. And I think the continuity of Daniel Jones is worth paying a slight premium, not like an egregious premium, but it's worth paying a premium for, because the last thing you want to be are the 20 other teams that you were just alluding to that are just like, all right, what are we doing at quarterback next year?
But why are those 20 other teams looking for quarterback? Because they have somebody who's not good enough to win a championship. I'm not saying that that's Jones. I'm saying if that ultimately becomes Jones, can you make a case for maybe a less satisfying in the now path, because you're going to get your head beat? I mean, if you're going with a young kid or Tyrod Taylor. But maybe the reward on the back end is justified. I wouldn't do that. But I don't think it's irresponsible to just bring that into the conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot of risk. No matter how you look at it, there's risk. Yeah. Jets have risk because they're putting their eggs in the basket for Aaron Rodgers. if he and Derek Carr go elsewhere, you're kind of stuck, man.
Mm-hmm.
Giants have risk because if they put their eggs, their money that is, in Daniel Jones's basket, and he's just like average, then what did you actually do it for?
They're going to be looking for a new quarterback in about 3-4 years. We've got Vernon down in Atlanta on the free Odyssey app. Vernon, what's happening, buddy? How are you?
What's up, Vernon?
All righty, you.
Hey.
Yeah, first time calling to your show.
Thank you,
I've
man.
been with the fans since Mike and the Mad Dog.
Love it.
50-year fan of Knicks, Giants, Yankees, and Rangers. Tiki, you're my second best running back on the Giants.
Thank you.
Right.
Who was number one?
Ronnie Hamp.
Oh, Hamp was the man, dude.
Yeah.
Hamp was the man.
Yeah, yes, sir. But you right behind him.
Thank you,
but
bro.
Anyway, Tiki, this is my argument with you.
Go ahead.
Right? You're boosting Daniel Jones up to get some money that he don't really deserve. Right? First and foremost, a Duke quarterback is never a quarterback that I really like. Because you go back to Dave Brown.
Oh, come on. Don't let Dave Brown skew you on Daniel Jones. Dave Brown was my first quarterback. I don't disagree with you, but go ahead.
Okay. And see, I never liked it. Eli, I still feel that Giants' defense was the main cause of them winning the Super Bowl. Eli had some tough playoff battles where he won the games, but still in all, Eli was the type of quarterback that I really didn't like, but, I gave him his honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But here's the thing. Hold on. At this point, Vernon, just think about this.
Mm-hmm.
After Eli's third season, and I remember this because it was my last season, after Eli's third season, did you believe that the Giants were winning a Super Bowl? The answer is no.
No.
Nobody thought that they were winning the Super Bowl, but they got the team right. They had some good veterans, especially on the defense, and some young guys over there, OC and Tuck and some others who did some really good things defensively and harassed everybody throughout the playoffs. And Eli was like, he rose to the occasion. And so you kind of never know until you know. And so
they were low-scoring games, too. That Tampa game was fairly low-scoring.
Mm-hmm.
That Dallas game was low-scoring.
Yep.
Yeah.
Green Bay was freezing cold, and it was like, I mean, even the Super Bowl, it was a low-scoring game. So I think circumstances can make us change our opinion on players. But I think the lesson from Eli is that until you know, you don't know, right? And I think Daniel Jones is the same kind of player. He's just a better athlete and has a better arm, right? And so why would I not believe in it? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, we'll see, but I got something for you, Tony. I love the take on the Knicks the other day. All these fans out here talking about slow your pump your brakes and all this, they're not really true fans to me because if you went through the times I went through with the Knicks, I've seen they 2 championships because I'm 62 years old. I was born in 1960. So I've seen they 2 championships. This team right here has a special thing. The only thing that I think slows us down is Barrett a lot of times, Randolph sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that Brunson is controlling Randolph this year, making him be more of a team player.
Vern, do me a solid before we let you split here. Say after me. Repeat. You ready? Eastern Conference Finals. Let me hear it.
Conference Finals and NBA champ.
Okay, we're going to play a little more Race in the States.
He went up to you, BT.
Boy, Vernon. I like it. 877-337-6666. Yeah, a little withdrawal the next 8 nights without my Knicks, who are rocking it. Good piece by Vaccaro today in the Post, by the way, about how hard. I mean, it's not a direct correlation to DeBusschere, but when DeBusschere was acquired by the Knicks, how he kind of became that glue and that grit, and he parallels a little bit to Josh Hart. Obviously, not quite the same. DeBusschere's DeBusschere. But it's an interesting read. So if you guys are big Knicks fans out there, you want to check it out.